Hello and welcome to special coverage on Compass. I'm Amanda Anderson, Digital Media Specialist at Pioneer PBS, and I'm here again to look at how COVID-19 is impacting our students and to take a look at how one small community honored a wedding anniversary in this historic time. This special is replacing tonight's scheduled Compass episode, but you can watch all episodes of Compass anytime online at pioneer.org/compass or on the free PBS video app. Minnesota has 9 educational service co-ops throughout the state, which help schools find the resources they need and act as a conduit to connect educators and school staff. They're also helping schools find answers to legal questions and providing digital professional development opportunities. Joining me is Cliff Carmody, Executive Director at Southwest Service Co-op, and Jeremy Kovash, Executive Director at Lakes Country Service Cooperative. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us, Amanda.
Oh yeah, of course. Can you talk about what kind of support and services schools are most looking for right now, where your focuses have been?
I think a lot of it has been networked facilitation. So we have created networking groups from business managers to technology integrationists to teachers that work together and talk about problems with how to solve distance learning. So we are kind of traditionally, we are the hub for a lot of those activities for professional development for educators. And today we continue to be the hub. It's all turned online.
I think within the last month or so, we've had nearly 500 teachers participating in some kind of network. Normally we do a monthly superintendent's meeting. We coordinate that. We have been holding those meetings actually weekly. We do them on a Wednesday, kind of 10 to noon, where it's really as much as anything, it's a support mechanism for superintendents to come together and talk about the latest guidance that's coming out of the state. That's changed. It seems to change almost daily. So we've had an open agenda, very unstructured, and kind of started by saying, okay, what do you want to talk about today? And so we will meet again this Wednesday, and I imagine a big part of that meeting, in the way of an example, will be to talk about what are you going to do on these planning days that are coming up. As you look at the extension of distance learning, May 1st and May 4th are planning days. They'll want to talk about those kinds of things. And so, but that's been a big part of what we've been doing. And the other thing that Jeremy and I our agencies are similar in is we have what we call learning centers. They're programs for kids with high needs behavior. And so we've been spending an awful lot of time developing our own capacity around how we're providing supports for those kids that attend our programs.
So we as well meet with our superintendents, school leaders, and they have a lot of legal questions right now. They have a lot of regulatory questions, and we try to not so much give them guidance, but get the guidance deliverers in touch with them. So we'll make sure they get the answers we need. And so I like to call us a communications conduit, and we'll reach out to the Department of Education, the School Board Association, legal attorneys, and ask questions for them. So there's kind of that real formal piece. And then frankly, a lot of our time with our schools right now is spent on, hey, anyone doing anything fun for graduation? Is there a way we can do that? How about prom? Is anyone going to do anything virtual for a prom? Are you canceling? If so, how's that going for you?
You talked about how a lot of your teachers are coming to not just for IT support and networking, but they have legal questions. Do you have an example of some of the more common questions that you've gotten?
So we do a lot of special ed, and I think Jeremy does a lot. So there's special education is really compliance driven. So a lot of what we've been dealing with is, so you have, for example, timelines on when you need to assess the child, when you need to have their individual education plan in place. There's been a lot of those kinds of questions that we've been fielding when it comes around legal issues. The other legal, what I thought when Jeremy was talking about some of the legal issues from an administrative standpoint is there's, without going into it in too much detail, but we're all dealing with different people, and so you're trying to plan in this pandemic environment, and for the short term, but you also have the longer term that you need to think about. So what's our workforce going to look like in 6 months? and what how are we handling things where people are fearful for their own protection and they don't want to come into work, and yet we need people to come to work.
So there's so much new guidance that's come out from both the federal government, the CDC, the Department of Health, the governor's office, and so just kind of trying to help our superintendents wade through that information, our school leaders wade through that information.
It seems like a lot of distant learning is very tech reliant. What would you say, how many of the students in your areas, maybe you can't say, you don't know, but have their own device to use?
Well, that's, certainly more prevalent at the high school level, first of all. Boy, you get down into 8th grade, 7th grade, 6th grade to kindergarten. I mean, not very many K2 students have devices at all, right? I mean, very, very few. So probably not as many as you think. And there's more poverty out there than I think we think or know of.
One of the things, so I just saw today in our regional newspaper with Marshall, the YMCA has partnered with the school district, and they're providing Wi-Fi hotspots. So that's one, and I know that in Jeremy's region, in our region, that some of the school districts and the superintendents have been bringing buses out to provide, again, Wi-Fi hotspots for kids to access the internet. The challenge you get, even with some of those kinds of things, is that some of our children, I think living in poverty is a good example, but some of our children, it's hard for them. They may have folks that their parents might still be going to work. And so to get even to the YMCA in Marshall could be a hardship.
I happen to live in Perham, which is north of Fergus Falls, and there's a large phone company in our region. I actually reached out to them, and they delivered the phone. I will say I'll give private business some credit. I mean, they've really tried to help. So they went to Parker's Prairie School District. They put a big Wi-Fi hotspot in the school parking lot, and some of the kids are going there and they're hanging out. But we've got the same issue as Cliff mentioned. To get there, you got to have a car. So unfortunately, some of the kids without Wi-Fi in their homes are probably the same ones without a vehicle or mode of transportation. But there's no perfect guidance, because I mean, this is a societal issue, not a 10-day fix.
I'm wondering what you're hearing happening on the policy side. Is there any legislation or stuff that's being talked about right now to help aid in any of these issues that you're encountering?
I do think in the end we'll have policies and that will help. I frankly think we'll get better as a result of this education. I mean, first of all, the partnership between education as an example, or really any business with public health, I think will be and is stronger than ever. I think that's fantastic. I think we'll have a large push from both business and industry and education for statewide broadband, which I think is awesome. And so this could be the tipping point to get that done, which would be fantastic. And then I think schools, frankly, this is, there's some revolutionary things I think happening with schools, how they connect to kids, blended learning models, and the ability for our schools to transition to hopefully connect with kids in multiple ways really could be at a great tipping point. And I think education will be even stronger moving forward, because we've recognized and realized different and better ways to connect to kids. Frankly, I think our business, what we do as cooperatives, will be better moving forward, because we found new ways to now connect to our members.
Yeah, I'm wondering, kind of going off of that, what you're imagining schools and learning will look like in a post-distant learning environment.
The other piece that I don't hear a lot of conversation about is the importance of the function of school to help the working family be able to go to work. I think that's been a challenge right now. I've heard some, will everything become distance learning? I don't think so, because I do think there's a very important function that schools perform, and call it whatever you want. But if you're a working family, you need your kids to be in a school, safe environment with strong social emotional supports, learning the academics and all of those kinds of things. I think that's going to reinforce the need for good quality public schools. And at the same time, I'm hopeful that it'll also allow us to individualize better so that we don't have to have all the same content with every kid, but excuse me, those kids that can move a little quicker, maybe can move a little quicker, and those kids that need some additional supports can get those additional supports, but we still maintain the social emotional aspect of what public schools are all about.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. You realize how much social interaction schools provide, and you realize food needs that schools provide. Yeah, not daycare, that's not the right word, but yeah, a safe environment for kids to be.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Well, I tried, but I do think child care, taking care of your children from, at age 5 to whenever they're ready to take care of themselves, I do think we don't often talk about that as being an important function of schools. And I think this has reinforced that. And I think it's okay to say that. We tend to want to kind of, shy away from that. But I think there is a very, very important role schools play with that whole childcare, safe environment, social emotional support, and some of those kind of things. So I do think we're learning. I can just say that we've had both with our organization and our staff and the people that we know in the region are just doing phenomenal work at a time when, if you think about it, given some got 8 days, some got 10 days to totally redo how we were delivering instruction. There's even the most reasonable individual needs to know there's going to be some gaps, in trying to do that. But people have done phenomenal work, and I'm really proud to be able to be a part of that, this small part that we've been able to play. So it's been a challenge, but it's been something that I think has been people are really reacting in the education sector, doing a really nice job, in my opinion. So
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll see you later.
Okay,
See you later,
bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye, Cliff.
Bye-bye.